So let's start off this way. Good day, sir. Where are you right now? You're in America?
I'm in California. I'm in Berkeley, California.
Okay. And how's life in California?
It's okay, considering that I'm a black man living in America. We'll take it as it comes.
How long?
We can't complain. We decided to be here, so we got to deal with it.
So you're living in California. How long have you been in Cali?
Since 1984.
Oh, wow. That's quite
yeah, but I've been doing a lot in Ghana too, so it's not. I mean, this is my residency since '84. I lived in Ghana for a span of about 5 years, where I came to Ghana and lived for 5 years, and then came back here to the States. But I'm coming back in a couple of months, a month and a half or 2 months. I'm coming back. Yeah, I'm coming back. We got to change things. So we got to help before things get too bad. So we're putting in the hats and coming home.
Hopefully we'll meet in person too, not do this thing, from far away.
Yeah, of course. We've got to meet. We've got to meet in person.
All right. So for those that don't know you, who is Victor? I hope I'm pronouncing the surname right. Tieku.
Yeah, it's Tieku. It's the Akwapim name, Tieku.
Okay.
Now you guys called it Tieku, like the Ghanaian, which is also an Akwapim name anyway. But
so for those that don't know you, in a brief summary, who is Victor Tieku?
Oh my God. I looked at that questionnaire and I was like, how am I going to answer that? There's a saying that what you think of yourself is not what other people see you as, because it's a different perspective. Victor Tieku is a go-getter. Victor Tieku is somebody who doesn't relent. I'm a natural problem solver. Ever since my youth, I've known I have that knack. My brain just gravitates towards solutions. I am an ardent. My first passion in the world was soccer. Because my uncles played for the Gold Coast 11 and Ghana Black Stars. My two uncles were the center defenders for Ghana. One of them was the captain, Tim Daba and William Daba. Those are my uncles. Yeah. And my dad was a very good soccer player too. My uncles say my dad was better than them. So my first love was soccer. And so that's what I loved. But my grandmother was a lead soprano singer for the Methodist Church in the Cape Coast, in the Central region. Her name is Georgina Dennis. She had a great voice. I never met her, but that's what I heard. So, yeah, I never saw her. I think, and I know it because I had music inside of me and I had soccer inside of me. And that was my passion. So I grew up being developed, my formative years was about groupings, was about doing things in groups, like playing soccer together, singing together, doing stuff together. And I loved being amongst a lot. My greatest passion is being where there are so many people. That's my greatest joy. That's what I want to do. When I want to feel good, I just want to go where there are a lot of people. And it doesn't matter whether even I'm talking to anybody. I just have to be where there's a crowd.
Where there's a crowd. Okay.
Yes, that's my passion. Apart from having my guitar in my hand now, that's what I gravitate to. So I like stadiums and I like going to school. I like to be in assembly in school. I like where a lot of people. So Victor is, and I'm an entrepreneur. I like getting things done. I like working. I'm an alcoholic. I like working all the time. And I like talking. I have this saying that my father is a teacher, my grandfather is a teacher, my mother is a teacher, I'm a teacher. And so I've been sentenced to using the voice. So I love to talk. Sometimes I don't get I get into trouble for talking too much, you know. But I'm a narrator. Yeah, I'm a narrator. So that's Victor in a nutshell. I don't know, but the icing on the top is I'm a very good composer and songwriter.
Okay.
Unfortunately, Ghana doesn't know me yet. Ghana, they don't know me, but I have over 435 songs written.
Whoa.
Yes, I'm a very good songwriter. Oh yes, you hear about me very soon. Yeah. But because I know the business, yes, I have so many songs. But because I know the business, I've been holding things to my chest because I'm not egotistical. You know, I'm not.
Okay.
I don't think I should have music out there for me to be satiated. You know, I enjoy writing songs. Yeah.
Okay. So with the background of just family of teachers and grandmother getting into the choir, how did you get into songwriting with over 400 songs credited to your name? How did you get into this business?
Well, the first story about me and music is very interesting. So, when I was a kid, we lived in Fifth Avenue Extension, which is right by where where Christ the King is, right?
Yeah.
The road behind Christ the King that joins the main the police headquarters road.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We lived across the street from where the British High Commission staff quarters were.
Yes.
Where the tennis courts were. Yeah. So we lived across the street. And in those flats, my dad was an English teacher at Accra Polytechnic and ATTC then. Oh. So in those flats, there was a man who also was in the Ministry of Education called Mr. Adby, and his kids played the piano. And so they were downstairs and we lived upstairs in the bungalow. It was a bungalow for the Ministry of Education. And the older kids were girls. And so my sister, who's 2 years younger than me, and the girls went to Wesley Girls. So my sister, they loved my sister when they come back home. And so my sister hung around them. I was a boy running around with their younger brother playing. Then it was Cowboys and Indians, you know. We have our horses and we have our fake horses and we have our guns and we go around and we play in the yard. I wasn't interested. My sister was learning how to play the piano. One day I went in there and they said I was too dirty, so they sacked me. Because I was playing soccer and everything, so they sacked me out of there. So I said, oh my God. And then they said my sister was very good, and they came and told my dad my sister was good. My sister, but you know, sibling rivalry. So I told my dad I want to play an instrument. He says, what instrument? I said, trumpet. That's the first one that came to my head because then they were showing Broadway Goes Latin on TV those times, you know. Yeah. And there were the big horns people on those shows, you know. So I said trumpet. And my dad says he doesn't know where he can get a trumpet and he doesn't know how I could learn, nobody to teach me. So that was it. I forgot about that. Till I went to secondary school. I'm a Kwabuche boy. I went to Francis Secondary School.
Oh.
And yeah, I'm a Buche boy. Okay. So I go to secondary school. And my first week in secondary school, first day, somebody smashed my face so hard. Oh. I played soccer and hurt the back of my eye. So I had it stitched before I went to school. So I'm not going to mention his name, I'll never forget him. He smashed my face so hard and my left eye got swollen. Oh. So I was taken to the dispensary. When I went to the dispensary, one of my mates was also sick in there. This is Professor Kwame Addo. You know who Kwame Addo is, Professor Kwame Addo. He's a great architect and a great artist. That was my first friend in Kabuchi. Yes. So I go there and he's also sick there. So me and him were in the dispensary. And then 3-4 days later, we're all recouping and then the parents come and they bring him a guitar. But he was a good artist. He was a very good artist. So when it was time for us to choose our subjects in Kwabuche, we choose between metalwork, woodwork, art, and music. Yes. So because Kwame Addo I saw the art, I said I went and chose art.
So he influenced
the first term. Well, yeah. No, I had a very big. He had a very big impression on me because I mean he was the only guy I was dealing with. I'd known because we were in the dispensary together. Everybody was in the dormitories.
Yeah.
And so I chose art, but I'm not good at drawing. So the first time I totally bombed. I bombed, and so I go home first time holidays, and my parents are mad at me because if I hadn't bombed at the art, I would have done very well in my position. You know when they used to do who was first and who was second and all that kind of stuff, right? Yeah. So the art made me so bad, and my dad was furious. So my uncle was the reverend of the school. Reverend Wilson was the reverend of the school. So my dad and mom asked him if they could switch me. Okay. But the music teacher in the school was my mother's infant friend. They grew up together. And when I was born, and they went to college together, my dad was their teacher. And when I was born, he actually carried me when I was a toddler. Oh. And this is Mr. Mpakosa. He was the first violinist when the national anthem was recorded. And he was the music teacher. So he says, okay, I can come to music classes. And after classes, I could go to his house and he would give me extra lessons. He loved me. The rest is recorded history. Yes. So I was doing music. I had one term without music, and I started doing music. But then I knew I had to be a musician professionally when we got to do compositions. And you play something on the piano and you say somebody should sing a melody. And because I knew him and because I went to him for classes, every time when I'm in class, I'm very quiet. I'm not that person. I'm not a quiet person, but because Mr. Mpakosa was somebody who knew my mom and I knew, so I was always the good boy in the class. I never talk. I never even raised my hand. So, you know how it is when you go to high school. You know when back in those days, for us, we were so disciplined. You know, yeah. we obey authority very well. So it got to compositions, and he would play something from Bach or Beethoven, and then you say, continue with a melody of your own, and when it got to me, I was blowing things away. And he was like, oh my God, I didn't know you could do this. And so I got confidence from that one class that I could actually come up with melody, you know? Because, when we're growing up, I mean, you always think the elders are better. You think somebody else is better than you, True. And, but he empowered me that very day. So I said, okay, I got goosebumps and I started doing stuff. I didn't know how to play the guitar. I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't know how to play the piano. So I said, I will learn how to play the guitar. You won't believe this. I went to the carpentry shed in Kwabuche and told the carpenters to make me a guitar.
And how did that turn out?
I'm telling you something. I mean, I could make a movie out of this. It took like a year and a half. I always go and the carpenter will tell me, oh, he hasn't gotten the right wood. He didn't know how to do it, But he said, he hasn't gotten the right wood. And so I didn't know that he didn't know how to do it. And I kept going to him because I was not giving him any money. I didn't have any money. I mean, and they loved me because, I mean, I was active in the school, I was all over the place. So one day I go, after a year and a half, he had made a guitar. Oh boy, I wish we had smartphones then where I could have pictures of my first guitar. It was so bad. Only two of the frets on the top were good. And the pegs were so bad. And he had put ordinary Akantia wire on them for me. But I was so grateful, Yeah. So I got out a chord book, and that's what I started using to learn how to position my fingers on the guitar. So I came up with when I tried the first time, I had a book that had all the patterns, of chords. And I was doing music in school, so I knew music, But my fingers couldn't conform to the fretboard because I just started playing guitar. I didn't have a guitar. Other kids had guitars in the school. And so I took my guitar. There's a place in Kwabuche called OFS, which is Orange Free State. Okay. There's a junior field. It's just the nickname. We call it the Orange Free State. And I took my guitar and went and hid it in the bushes over there because I couldn't have any of my schoolmates see that I have this guitar that I'm calling a guitar. It was so shameful. I went and hid it there. So after classes, I would go to Orange Free State and go and hide in the bushes there. And I'll put my finger on the guitar and I'll tie it with a bandage. You remember back then we used to play soccer with bandages and stuff. So I had a lot of bandages.
Yes.
And I'll tie my finger and I'll conform my finger to that cord and hold it. Then I figured, oh, let me get a little bamboo and draw some lines on it. So I got a bamboo, I drew lines on it. And then I drew the frets. And I'll hold the cord and I'll tie my hands and I'll go to bed in the dormitory with it. My classmates didn't know I was doing that. Oh. So all of a sudden, before they realized I was playing guitar, nobody understood how I could play guitar so fast. My dorm mates, because I was conforming my hands on bamboo and sleeping. So this is how it all started. It's been a journey, but it was fun. I mean, thinking about it.
I can tell you it's something more determined, passionate. If it was today, I mean, we have, the internet, we have virtual stuff to be able to learn these things, but to be able to pick it upon yourself, go to the carpentry shop for over a year, tying your hand on the guitar that was poorly made, and I mean, that's a very inspirational and a major story.
The second part of this, the second part of this is so. Pakwesi Misata, the former vice president, was my school father. He was my school father. His uncle and my father went to Wesley College together in Kumasi. And we lived my dad was the district education officer in Sefiriosu when I went to secondary school. And Pakwesi Misata's uncle also was the administrative officer in Sefiriosu. So when I did my common trans in Cape Coast. I'd left St. Teresa's, and my dad was transferred, so I came to a boarding school in Cape Coast. And so when it was time to come to secondary school, Pakwesi's uncle told my dad about Pakwesi and his brother, Jabish, being in Kwabupi, and that he would tell them to take care of me when I go. So when I came to Form 1, after the dispensary stuff, Pakwesi came and introduced himself to me and says every time. So my money and everything was with Pakwesi. Oh. So on Saturday, on the weekends, one Saturday, he says we should go to his family house. So the Misata house is across from the Kwabupi Junction. Okay. And what it was he had a cousin there who was playing guitar, who was a guitarist. Oh. That makes his name is Eric Bobo. Yes, if you've heard of Eric Bobo, one of Ghana's best guitar players, Eric Bobo, he was a guitarist for classic handles.
Yes.
And so, yes, you know Eric Bobo. Yes. So I went and I met Eric Bobo. Yes. And he's my friend till now. I mean, I was 12 years old. Eric Bobo was 12. We are the same age. He was 12 years old. We met back then. And every weekend I go to him and then we play guitar. He taught me a lot because he knew how to play before I did. I was bumbling on tying my hands and stuff. So Eric Bobo and Eric Bobo, around Eric Bobo in his house, because he went to Agri and he was a day student. He was in Agri Memorial and he was a day student. I was in the border in Kwabupi. So I started learning and playing with him. And that's how it started. So after O-level, I knew I wanted to be a professional musician. And my dad wouldn't have any part of it. You know how moms are. Mom wants me to do what I want to do because my mom's mother was a musician, was a singer, and my dad didn't want any part of it. But I had an auntie in Cape Coast. Oh, I have to stand up anytime I think about my auntie. She loved me so much, and I could be hiding in her house, and my mom wouldn't even know that I was in the house because she wanted me to do what I wanted to do, and my parents didn't want me to do it. So, they gave me so much. My mom went along like she didn't like it, but she liked me playing music. But because, dad didn't want me to play, so
she has to
mom
go.
pretended she didn't want me to play. Yes. And I'll run away and go and hide in my auntie's house in Cape Coast. Because my dad was in Serio, so I could come hide in my auntie's house. So, because Aribobo was in Cape Coast, and so when I'm in my auntie's house, I go to Aribobo's house all the time, So that's how it started. We started becoming, back in those days, they said we're naughty boys, but we're not naughty. We're trying to follow our dream,
Yeah,
So
that sounds think I know a lot of people will learn from when this interview goes on YouTube and all these places, because this is proper determination filled with ambitions and, you know, the vow or the energy to learn something to become great. And you have become one of the unspoken heroes when it comes to music in Ghana. I'm glad I've been able to listen to this story firsthand before it goes out there to anybody. So we will transition into the fact that you've learned music. I mean, your high school, your background, everything. Then you start working with Nigerian artists, and the one person that almost everyone credits for the roots of Afrobeat, that was Fela. You started working with Fela. What is the story behind you going into Nigeria and also meeting Fela to work with him?
Well, so in 1976, I was in Lower Six,
Okay.
and there was a band in Shredu School of Business. The name was Busy Bees. They won the Anansi Krum. Remember when we used to have an Anansi Krum competition in Ghana?
And my mom won't stop talking about it.
Yes, my Busy Bees won 1976 Anansi Krum. And 76 was when Kwabuche were having 100-year anniversary.
Okay.
So during the anniversary, Cape Coast was active, you know, and we had formed an anniversary band we called Centenary Boogies with my friends in the school. Okay. And Busy Bees came to play in town at Town Hall after the afternoon of the main event of the Centenary. I played guitar in the afternoon in the dining hall. We played, and I played my best guitar I think I ever played in that year. And the Busy Bees guys were there, and they saw me, and then they were playing the night. They had a billing where they were getting gate fee. They were being paid to play, students, you know. So I went there to see them, and because they saw me playing, they said, "Oh, I can come and sit in jam." So I jammed them that night, and became friends for life. So I started playing with them. They played all over the place. I started playing with them, you know, ran and go and play with them and all that kind of stuff. Those guys were not out of high school yet. One of them was even in Form 2. Wow. And I was in Lower Six. Yes. So after A-levels, I was playing with them in Cape Coast when DeRoy Ebo-Taylor's older son, who just passed away this year, Ebo-Taylor Jr.
Yes.
He was a keyboard player. Yeah, he was a keyboard player for Guest Matari Band in Teshi. John Mensah, former chairman of Accra Olympics, owned a club called Teshi Guest Inn. And that was where Guest Matari was formed. And Ebo-Taylor came to Cape Coast. He had watched me before. I didn't know I didn't be watching me. So he came and says, "I want you to go and play in our band." I said, "What?" He says, "Yeah, I want you to come and play with us professionally." Oh my God. So this is am I going to go to college or am I going to play? The parents are giving me hell already. So I go, but this was the holidays. So I go to Teshi, and they tell me how much they're going to pay me and all that. And it's like all new, because I never had money from working before, you know. I mean, I never did any vacation employment. I was always industrious doing my own stuff, you know. I ran some little businesses all over the time during vacation with my friends, but I'd never been officially hired. So I go, and they tell me all of that, and it's time for us to play. But he says, "Oh, he knows I know all these songs," because you see, I'm studious. I mean, I had that instilled in me that if I love something, I learn it fast. Yes. And I knew a lot of the songs, so I go in, and there was a guitarist there already, Eric Telfa. So I was the second guitar player. We were playing rhythm and lead, and I was the rhythm guitarist, and Eric Telfa was the lead guitarist. And Officer Toru, Aiti Tennis. I mean, these were good Ghanaian musicians, you know. Yes. Kelly. I mean, that was a band. And so I started playing. My dad heard I was playing as Matari Hell Broke Loose. He came and yanked me off stage one day.
I'm not surprised that happened. I'm not surprised at all.
So when I was in upper six, Fela came to Ghana.
Okay.
And Fela was playing at Apollo Theater all the time.
Okay.
Back then, they were not taking gate fee. Apollo Theater was not taking gate fee. Okay. But if you have to buy a bottle of beer and sit on the table with beer before you can watch Fela. or any band that played there.
Okay.
This was me. I was a juvenile and I didn't drink beer. So I figured out. So this is where my critical thinking comes in, which I'm very good at it. So I go, Muscatella and beer are the same color.
Oh.
Think about it.
People with the brand color.
Yeah, the lager color that Muscatella has.
Yes.
So I didn't have money. So I always make sure I have my money to buy Muscatella. I go, so you buy a jug, then Bubra had come, I get a jug and I put Muscatella in it and I put it on the table and I sit there. So they don't come and tell me to go out. And I done that for like 5 days. And I sit by the beer, I won't drink it. By the Muscatella, I won't drink it. Because if it finishes, they'll tell me to go and fill it. I don't have any money. So, and one day fella was playing and they were playing Upside Down, which is a song that Sandra sang. The only girl to sing a fella song, the only other person to sing a fella song was called Sandra. She lives in California. And she sang that song. But the band used to play before fella comes on stage. And so they were playing that song. And somebody says, go up and go and jam. Because my Centenary Boogies band were playing that song. So I go and stand in front of the stage and I go like this, I'll play. The band leader looks at me, Baba, and he looks at me and says, I said, yeah, I'll play. He says, okay. So I climb up the stage and I take the guitar and I'm sweating in my palms like hell and I'm going, I jam solid, not knowing if fella was paying attention. Ooh. So he got out of the dressing room because the dressing room was on the left side. He got out, come and sit there and watch me and I made eye contact with him and I jammed and I put the guitar down and I sang. After the show, he sent them to come and call me. He says, what's your name? And I told him my name. I said, my name is Victor Tieku. He says, oh, you these Ghana people. Which one be Victor? What is your Ghanaian name? I said, my Ghanaian. I said, I'm Victor. I said, no. Your name no be Victor. You will change your name. Your name no be Victor. I want your Ghana name. Your Ghana name. Good go no be Victor. So that was the joke. And then, so that was it. They went away. So I'm playing Gas Matari. One day I'm over there. When I see there's a lady coming, and says she's been looking for and she met me first. She says she's looking for a musician called Victor. And I go, we were two Victors in the Gas Matari band. There was Victor Adi and I'm Victor Tieku. And so I go, so I thought because she came to me, I was looking for Victor. She knew who that Victor was. So I was thinking it was Victor. And then when we're walking to the bar, she says, he plays guitar. I go, oh, you want me? He says, yeah. I say, what's that? He says, fella sent her to come to me. Wow. So I go, so what? He says he wants you to come and play in his band. I knew my dad would not let me go. So I took this lady to my father's house and my dad said, no.
No way.
So she had to go. She had to go away. And then a year later, I became the leader of Gas Matari.
Okay.
I became the leader of Gas Matari. I went and brought my Busy Bees guys. We formed the band plus a couple of other additions, and we were the youngest band gigging in Ghana. I mean, we were good. Yes, but we were really good. I mean, and we were playing all over the place. But sometimes we don't get promotions because a situation had happened. That's what's messed up the Ghana music industry. And I'll talk on that, maybe not this conversation. Because I was right, I was at the tip of the iceberg when this industry went down. And people don't know it. So there weren't enough promoters. So I said, no, I can promote the band. I can promote the band. So I went to the village and I got somebody to front for me. I gave him my money, and then they'll come and book the band. But it's my show. But the management of Gas Matari didn't know it was my show. So we'll go and I have my people stand at the gate. We'll play. It's my promotion. If I lose the money. But I wanted the band to play. So we did so many gigs with me as a promoter. So I'll go out to the places and I'll go and book the club, and then we'll come and do posters in guest in. And then we'll put them all over the place. And I made so much money. I shared everything equally with the musicians because The idea was not for me to make money. It's so that
well,
the band can have gigs. Yes. And we also had a plan that we're going to save money and we're going to take that money to go to Nigeria, and then from there we'll go to Germany, because back then it was the bugger scene had come where everybody was going to Germany to go play. Black Earth had gone, former Biso Yaya. So every musician was like, yeah, we got to take the band abroad. We're thinking band. We're not thinking individuals. We never thought individuals, and we saved a lot of money, and then something else happened. One of the musicians did something. We had to split that money. So from that, then the 79 coup happened. So when the 79 coup happened, things went helter-skelter. I mean, we didn't play. We were playing in the afternoon. And there was a guy who wanted to do a recording in Nigeria. Then I'd left Gasmatari. I'd gone to Boulders. I'd left Boulders. I'd gone to Bopinodo. I'd left Bopinodo. Mr. Simons came and pushed me in Bopinodo and took me to Dutch Bengals in Tema. So me, Mr. Simons, Emmanuel Akufu, Cropper, Sammy Walker, Imati, Jones, Kwame Tony, we were the Dutch Bengals. So we were in Tema. And so now I'm living in Community 7 and I'm playing Dutch Bengals. Then a guy came, he says he wants us to go help him do a recording in Nigeria, and the studio was called Shanulu Records. So 3 of us went, me, the drummer, Kwame Tony, and Cropper.
Okay.
We went with him to go record. So I play bass, Cropper will play the piano, and Kwame will play the drums, and we lay the basic tracks. And then Cropper will come and take the bass, and I'll go to guitar, and we do overdubs. Then Cropper will play guitar again, and then we'll do, okay, man, we were good. We're 3 of us, we were good, man. We did this wonderful recordings. And so from there, we met a guy who became my good friend, Leko Ogbawo. He actually became the principal secretary of Lagos State.
Oh, okay.
He just retired about 4 years ago. Yeah, Leko Ogbawo. He said he just wants me to be his friend. So I became his friend. I went back to Ghana and he makes me come back. And then Allah comes looking for me again. He heard that I was in Nigeria. So yes, so then I went and joined this band. That's how I went and joined this band finally. This was the tail end of 82, because I was in Ghana for the 81 coup when they shut down the borders. I was in Nigeria, I came back and they closed the border. So I was stuck in Ghana. And then I went back and then I went and joined Fela. So that was it. That was the little story about how I ended up over
there. Now, you've mounted, some of the best stages. I mean, you've shown us how you did it very well in Ghana, but internationally, globally, you played at one of the best festivals, even till today, the Glastonbury Festival. Can you share that experience, mounting that, humongous stage, that big stage to play as a band and with Fela as well?
Yeah, well, on that tour that we played, I played Glastonbury. So Fela used to have a lot of Cameroonians in his band.
Oh, okay.
And the Cameroonians, because Cameroonian musicians are very good musicians.
Yes.
They're very, very good musicians.
Yeah, that's one
They've always been very good. They've always been very good. Cameroonians and Ghanaians were the good musicians in Africa, in West Africa. I mean, that was, when we went to Nigeria, it was like, Fela once said, "You are Ghana, oh, okay, he wants you. If you're not Cameroonian, he wants you, because we were. I mean, I don't know. I mean, right now, I think the musicians in Ghana are very good, but when we played, we used to rehearse 8 hours a day. I mean, it was like a full-time job. We rehearsed 8 hours a day.
That's like sitting in the office.
Yes, we didn't rehearse. We played gigs. A gig was 8-hour gig.
Okay.
So there was no way back then a Ghanaian musician wasn't tight. And that's all we talked about. That's all we wanted to do. I mean, we were so dedicated. We were such professionals, but we made peanuts. So that's a different section for you to ask me. So, and Glastonbury, when we got there, before we went to that tour in Europe, the day before the tour, mobile police came and raided our house in Ikeja, Fela's house. I was beaten to a pulp. I had a bruised rib. Oh no, yeah, you guys have no idea what man has gone through doing music. I paid my dues. I mean, I was beaten to a pulp because I like to talk, and I was asking the soldier man, "What did we do?" Oh, come on! And they took some of us to Alabon Close. Bearco came and billed us the morning, and the evening we flew to Italy.
Okay.
I had pneumonia. I mean, I got pneumonia. I had a hitting thing on my lung, sitting and playing. I mean, we did gigs in Amsterdam, and then so when we got to England, I didn't even know that we were going to play Glastonbury. I didn't even know what Glastonbury was. That was a big show, you know.
Yes.
We played in Bristol. I met what's his name, the king of rock and roll. So you know, with Fella's band, when we travel, Fella and the girls normally stay in a different hotel from the musicians.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, right before we went on that tour, Fella realized how much I knew about equipment, and he had made me like the one overseeing the rhythm section when we do practices, like, you know. And so when we got to England, the band leader came to me. The leader was called Leko Animashao. We called him Babani. Okay. And he came to me and says, "We've got to go and select the equipment that we need." Because the back line, you know, in music, you know what we say, what we call the back line. Like, we don't go with our bass guitars or any of keyboards or anything when we go on tour. We get those from rental companies. So Babani came and said, "Victor, let's go and go select," because they realized I knew about equipment, you know. I was always saying, because I was playing music in Ghana, I was a band leader, I was in charge of equipment and all that stuff. So I was always complaining about the kind of guitars I got, places that we went where I didn't go choose the guitar that I wanted and all that stuff. And so we went, and then that's when you meet the engineers. And the most important engineer is the stage engineer, not the front of the house. For us musicians, it's the guy who's mixing for us to hear. So I met them, and then we selected equipment. So we went to Glastonbury before Fela and the girls came. And when we went, you know, we have badges on our chest, you know, and the show, the stuff was just percolating. The people were just coming in, and it was all new. And we're there, and we're going to do a sound check. You know, normally, Fela, when we play on these tours, we make sure we play last. Fela is not going to let any band play after him. So we had that. He had that egotistical position where when we play, when African music plays, nothing plays if we are on the billing, and that was a big deal. Yes, that was a big deal. I didn't understand it back then, but I understood it later when I lived in America, because we're egotistically going to ride the show. We're not going to make anybody play after us, because after us it's over. After Africa it's over, and you got to accept it, because most of these shows, Fela is the star billing, you know. So he had clout. He had bargaining power. Yeah. So on this show, right before us, you know the band called Weather Report?
Yes, everybody knows Weather Report.
Okay. Well, sometimes I ask people and they don't know Weather Report, because some people don't really know music. And they think they do, but they don't.
Yes.
So we went there, and we're going to sound check with Weather Report. I mean, Weather Report was going to play right before us. So I and Babani, we've gone there ahead of the whole band and ahead of Fela's entourage. And so we're setting up the equipment, and the engineers are asking me. So I'm on stage trying to set up, telling them what we want. So I'm kind of doing that. Then the guitar player for Weather Report comes to me and says, "What's your name?" I go, "Victor." He says, "Wow, it's how did you know how to do all this?" Because they're thinking we're from Africa, and so we don't know what I was talking about. Because I was giving some real technical stuff, because I was talking science, I was talking physics. I was not just talking band stuff. Come on, I'm like, what would you way? At least I had to know something, you know. And then the band came and we started doing the sound check, and he was blown away, because I was playing African guitar. I mean, I'm not a very, very, very good African guitarist, you know. I mean, when I say African guitarist, back then I was more Western, you know. You grew up as a dadaba in Ghana. Yeah, We want to play the funk and the reggae and the highlight there. We didn't want to play that. We said we called that Kokwasi boys. You know, who were so bad. We didn't know that was what we needed. You know, we thought mimicking the Western music was what was better. You know, so but when I saw Weather Report and I knew Weather Report and those guitarists called it Coxon, man, those guys can play. And they did their sound check before us. And then for like, I'm like, oh my God, we're going to play Afrobeat, so it's okay. I mean, we can do our thing. So, but before that, I was running some riffs. I was just doing some stuff. After that, after our sound check, Colin Coxon calls me and says, "Come and jam with me in the hotel room."
Wow.
This is before the show. This is before the show. So we do sound check in the morning, and then bands play till we come back. So in between the sound check and the show itself, I was in Colin Coxon's room jamming with him. and it was amazing, man. It was amazing. So that was Glastonbury. And then we played the show. I mean, that show, I think you have the tips of that show. That's on the internet. Yeah, you can find the 84 Glastonbury Music Festival. You can find fella. You see that show. And we played and man, it was so crowded. So my brain started thinking about ideas. And I talked to the promoters. I talked to the promoters. I talked to our tour people up the promoters who promoted us, but I also talked to the promoters who were doing those in charge of the Glastonbury Festival. So I picked their brain. I talked to all my figured out, because then I started learning the industry of music. You know, because when we were in Ghana, when I was in Ghana and even in Nigeria, we were playing band. Playing band is different from the business of the music industry. The music industry is very specific. And if you don't know it, you think it's just booking a show and going to play. No, there's a lot that goes into that industry. So I was really keen and very interested in learning it to the bare bottom of the industry. So I was really asking questions and getting things clarified for me.
Okay.
We played at Brest too. We didn't just play Glastonbury. We played at Brest. We played all over the place. We played Bristol. We played so many shows on that tour.
Okay. Now you decided to get into the business side of things. Now that's more or less like the monitoring aspect, or trying to get them. You said it before that we will talk about that, another time. Maybe when you come to Ghana, we have a very big sit down and break down how the business collapsed when it comes to Ghana music industry. But
you can call me. You can call me and we can talk about anything. You can call me and we can talk about anything anytime. It doesn't even have to be a Zoom or Google Meet. You can call me on WhatsApp or whatever, and we can talk. I mean, I've got a lot to share, and the world Ghana needs to hear a lot that I've got to share.
Yes. So, but let's talk about your name has really been mentioned when it comes to got turning into GHAMRO. Can you share the story why you are behind the scenes in this movement?
I'm not supposed to be behind the scenes, but it is because of people with special interest, people who want to be riding the horse and not qualified to do it, who have been doing that. They've been intentionally keeping me away from stuff because I live in America, because I don't live in Ghana. And that's a disservice to Ghana and to the rights owners in Ghana, because they don't know. They don't know. I mean, to put it simply, they've been bumbling with this whole thing and messing up people's lives for years. They don't know what it is about. They've not studied it. They've not even played at that level. They don't understand the industry. And the most important thing is they don't love the Ghanaian musician like they should. I'll tell you something. I played day and night in Ghana on the road. I mean, we played when our truck gets messed up. We climb truck to come home. We are carrying instruments. I played with, you know what I mean? Like a Ghanaian hustling, playing music where your parents don't want you to play. Everybody thinks you're a drug addict or a vagabond. I didn't do any of that kind of stuff. And just for the love of music, we played. So we've got some dexterity and some love for one another. That those who are like the artists, and these are the people running the industry. They are those running GHAMRO musicians, maybe besides the one that is there who played too. But the real suffering, the real musicians who paid their dues have not been running any of the stuff that's going on. you know, and that's what the disservice to the nation is. And it's also about learning the industry. I came to Ghana with a project. I was going to build fishing boats. I came to Ghana from America to come and build fishing boats in Ghana. I mean, this is 1991. I came from the States to come and build fishing boats, and ask me why. My father's mother is from Gomwa Mankwazi. And you know Okra Mankwazi fisheries, right?
Yes.
Okay, that guy used my ancestry land to build this bulk up. And my uncle, my father's brother, was a lawyer who lived in England. So when he came back, he came and took possession of that land. And he was aging. So in my family, we knew the story of how my family didn't use the land for that, and Okran did. So I came back, and Okran was doing fishes, and the fishes was not doing very well. So I said, I'm going to build canoes instead of big boats, so that the people in Mankwazi will have good boats. But I wanted to build them in fiberglass. So I went and studied how to make boats in fiberglass, and I came to build boats. And when I came to Ghana, I brought a partner, and the partner did something wrong. I'm not going to mention that. And the business, I was so mad. That was when Kabobo had released, "Oh, My Sweetheart, Come with Me," that song. So I came with some equipment. I helped Kabobo go on tour. I helped him go on tour. I mean, I had my equipment. I had some effects and stuff. Then people didn't have effects, you know. Now I'll go to Ghana Films and Mr. Kwachi. I'll bring some effects there, and they'll use in the studio. So then I decided, no, I'm going to come build a studio so I can develop engineers. Because then digital has started in America. And I was one of the first people to be at the seminar, the NAM show in Los Angeles, where Steinberg and all those people released their first softwares. I was there. It was the first time digital softwares were released in a national musicians show, you know, merchants show. And I was a member of NAM. So I had a chip on my shoulder that I've got to help my country get into this thing. But when I came to Ghana, there were some people who had some studios there already. They started CHM, and some people had set up studios. But the price was so high. They were charging 120 cities. The Ghanaian musician couldn't afford 120 cities. So I told Mr. Kwachi. Mr. Kwachi is the one who can vouch for this. I told him, I'm going to go to the States and I'm going to come and bring a studio. 3 months time, I came with a studio. Very expensive studio. I built a studio in Nasma, which is Campsite. If you've heard of Campsite. That's why Zabmalet and Apietis, all of them, they work with me, you know?
Yes,
and Apietis, all of them, all those engineers. I developed about 8 engineers there in Campsite. I always had top of the line stuff. I never used Campsite to record one song of mine. The competition was charging 120 cities. I charged 30 cities. Look at the disparity. Because and the people were insulting me. That's what people were saying. Yes, but what was the plan? What was the idea? Let me tell you why. So I'm hitting the why I did so much and I was behind the scenes. So I'm Fela Kuti's guitar player, right? And I'm living in America. Guess what? All the superstars, when they meet me, they want to talk to me. And I'm in the music business here, right? So every time we go to any party or we go to any get together, Ghana was not on the map in terms of music being released in the world. It was Peter Gabriel was helping the Senegalese and the Gambians, you know, Peter Gabriel with his Walmart stuff was doing that. And the South Africans were doing good. And the Congolese were doing good in Africa. Ghana was lost in the mix. Nigeria had Fela Kuti and Sonny Ade, right? Who did we have in Ghana? Osibisa was retired then, almost retired. So I go to these parties and they see I'm knowledgeable. They know, I mean, I've been there, I've done it, right? But then, so anytime the conversation comes up, I feel so sad. I feel so sad that where's my country? Where's my country? And I knew, because my parents are educators and I'm studious, so I knew you got to go to the roots and start finding the solutions. And the solutions are always in education. You know,
yes.
So you got to start from the bottom. You can't just start from the top and do anything. So first thing, digital was coming up. I said I'm going to set up a digital studio, but we got to do direct to disc, which means digital to analog. And I did that, analog and digital, not just plain, because I know sound and I knew that digital was too brittle. The bit mapping was not that good as it is now. You know, it was 16-bit. Most equipment were 8 and 12-bit. So I decided to do that. But I also became a distributor of musical equipment, where I was selling musical equipment. This is before the internet. I was selling musical equipment all over Africa and setting up stuff. So my motivation was to help my people. You see, because till I came to America, when I was apart from my carpentry shop guitar, I never owned a guitar. I came to America. I was taken to a place called Guitar Center. This is the big music store, and there were guitars, and they were telling me, "Oh, you can play the guitar." In Ghana, you can't go touch somebody's guitar.
It's a personal
even
property.
Even in Nigeria, for less instruments, if I'm going to practice, I gotta go and ask before they give it to me. So I come to America, I go to a store, there are guitars all over the place. A guy came, dashed me a guitar. I had 3 people come give me guitars for free. They just want me to play, to own a guitar they gave me because I'm Fela's musician. So I'm like, wow. I walked, me and another musician, I played with him in Boulder. It's called Okele. I walked with him from Teshi to Ananuman to go see a guitar, which was in a glass window in Ghana. And that guitar was supposed to be one of the guitars when the Richardson played with Osibisa. We walked, we didn't have money to take transportation. We walked from Teshi all the way to Ananuma. Mamprobi.
Just to see a guitar.
Just to go look, not to touch it, to go look at it in the window. You wonder why would we want to go look at it? Because when the Richardson has touched that guitar, and we were playing professional music, we were professional musicians. That is how bad it was for us, you know. So I had this chip on my shoulder. It's like, no, we can't. We are smart people. We are also able. We can't be running all over the place and suffering like that. So anytime I had an opportunity, I wanted to help. I mean, I'm not a rich man, you know. I don't have all the money in the world, but what I can do, I try to do. But I was learning the industry, and I figured it out. I figured the way it was done. You know, before even the musicians in America were complaining about how they were being cheated. I signed a recording contract in Nigeria with Tabansi Records. I signed a recording contract. I had a demo. I had everything. They signed me. They felt I was very good. And they wanted to record me. I said no. You know why? The royalty was 5 kobo per mechanical unit. And in Nigeria at that time, they were selling an album for 6 naira, 7 naira. And the musician's royalty was 5 kobo. So I had a 5-year contract. I didn't honor it. This is what started with me putting my songs away. Because when I learned the industry, a song is bigger than a house. And a song is everlasting as long as nobody has heard it. You can rearrange it and bring it to new. Because a song is the melody and the lyric and the melody of the lyric. And not the groove around it. We can change the groove anytime. But the song itself is golden. And if it's a good song, you can use it anytime. So my songs are my assets. So I decided I'm not going to give it to somebody else. So I kept my songs. So yeah. So my mission has been that we put Ghana on the map. I mean, I've been preaching that we put Ghana on the map. We put Ghana on the world map because you see, people don't realize this. A musician can never, the industry of the Ghanaian music industry can never get big if the people are poor and hungry. Because expendable income is what is used on entertainment.
True.
So,
that's true.
Yes. So you see, so when we get to the bottom, that's why I say I can fix that industry. I can fix it. If you get to the bottom of it, it's like you need people to have food to eat, to have to be happy, and then you play music, and then they come and patronize you. You can't have it any other way. So the Ghanaian musician and the Ghanaian music leaders, I don't think there are any music leaders over there because I know there are no music leaders over there. The Ghanaian music leaders have to think big. You have to think for nation. You have to think for Ghana. You have to think. We were the first journalists in the world. Musicians are. We are the first orators. We are the first. We announce things to people. We are the first role models. Do you think Ghanaian musicians are doing that now?
No, not at all.
But it's so easy to do it. It's so easy to do it. Ghanaian musicians were begging during COVID. We should be the one rallying people. We should be the one helping government do stuff, you know. But they don't even know where to start from. That has to change. The image of the Ghanaian musician has to change. It's just because we don't have good leaders. So we don't even pay taxes. How do you expect government to respect us? And how difficult is it to pay taxes? We could make a lot of money if we pay taxes. They don't understand.
Yes.
They think it's the other way around. Yes, they don't know. I know what to do. I know. It's just that I've been sidelined. You ask me about why they beat Cosca and they sideline me. When I start talking, it's above people's heads. They don't understand where I'm coming from because they think all they want is they want to be paid. All they want is they want it now. No, we can't have it now. We can have it sooner than you think if we get things done right. And to get things done right, you have to understand the way things work in the grand scheme of things. Because you see, we are musicians in a country. The country has to be functioning well before your music can be played. And you are front people. You're podiumist is what I call it. You stand on the podium, you stand on the screen, people look at you. And if you can have a certain level of leadership to come lead and rally the people around. I mean, if I meet with you and I tell you what the plans I have, you'll be so surprised because it's so easy. But people can't do it. So I'll tell you about Cosga. Carlos Sechi is my junior in Kwabuchi. He's 1 year behind me. His name is John Diasic. After school, me and him, I used to go to his house to play music and stuff. So he's my friend. I mean, I love Carlos, you know. So when this whole thing started, I started with Professor Anku and Kuja Akwai and them. I used to go and come. They were at home and they were doing stuff. But Professor Anku and I had some good relationships, you know. And Kuja Akwai had a studio around Hansonic and I had my studio in Dansuma. So, and he knew I played fella and all that. So when we talk, we go in depth. We talk about stuff. We talk about the industry. And Cosga was not given as a fair shake because it was a government-run thing, and it's the collection society is we should be owning it. You know, government cannot own it. So we were trying to figure out a way to change it into government hands. I was not interested in being on a board or being a leader. I think Ghana. I think us, because I believe my people are very intelligent. So we had some meetings, and then I come to the States because I live here with my wife and children, you know. And so when I come back, I mean, I definitely have to come back to the States. So basically, when I come, I contribute, and then I go back. But when I come back here to the States, I was learning the industry. When we first started meeting, I didn't know what I knew when I made that move for Cosga. So I came and intensified my studies in the industry, and I ran into Ralph P, I ran into Bill Gojans, peer music, you know, and they taught me a lot. I was trained by peer music in Los Angeles. I went to school with them. They taught me, you know. So they wanted me just to be their co-publisher in Africa, in West Africa. I said, no, I can't just be a co-publisher if the infrastructure is not there. Because without an infrastructure, you see, you gotta have, just like my policy, you gotta have the roots taken care of before you can piggyback anything on it. And
yes,
if the foundations are not strong, you can't build the walls, you know. So, and they were like, no, I don't have to worry about that. But later, it took me a long time. I convinced them that that's the way to do it, you know. And so they said, okay, they will support me. Ralph Pierre was the president of Publishers International, the international publishing group. He was the president at the time. And Bill Gojans was the CFO of Vodafone World before in England, before he came here. So they had the connections. Yeah, before he came to California. I mean, for peer music is what I'm talking about. And so they had the foundation, they had the connections in the world, you know. So when I gave them my idea, they said, like, how are we going to do this? I went to Congress. The two guys at the Federalist Organization in Alec and Dave in Washington, D.C. They invited me to Washington, D.C. I went to Congress. I met Hernandez, Deputy Secretary for State of Obama's first term as president. I met him. I told him about the Ghana copyright plight. He told me he'll make a couple of calls. Good. I kept talking to Alec. Then I came back and they said, oh, why don't I talk to PRS? I started talking to PRS. I'll tell you this. Hours upon hours, just I was not doing anything, just consumed with trying to get GHAMRO working. Because when I come and we meet, it was like I mentioned the day spot. And I mean, they were giving lessons about how to stand on stage, how to be on stage, how to dress for shows. That was bullshit. You know, and I'll be like, oh my God. Musicianship and business of music are two different things. Now, it's not just, it wasn't just business. It was the governance with business. How government, how policy making and the business work together. Government is only interested in, yes, government is interested in providing jobs for the people. Government is interested in solvency. Government is interested in having funds to run things. Government is interested in peace. What the leaders of a nation are interested in, that's what we have to be plugged in. We are supposed to be aiding them so that we become a viable, become an important arm of running the country, of helping things work. Then when you ask them for anything, you get it because you are a contributor. But we cannot always come. Musicians in this car, musicians, and say, what have you done for your country? We've been doing a lot for our country, but it has not been tabulated. Data has never been collected.
Data.
And all that is easy to do. I can set that up in 2 months. It's easy to do. I'm telling you, it's so easy to do.
See, so it was said that you put $40,000. I read a story that says that you put $40,000 in getting GHAMRO licensed. Is that a tabloid?
I didn't. No, it's not a tabloid. It's true. I spent $40,000 when I started my journey of trying to get the license, trying to get Betty Mould to sign the license. So they did all that stuff, and they went to Betty Mould, and the thing was on Betty Mould's desk for about 2 years, and the license was not being granted because
why was the license delayed?
I don't know what Betty Mould's reasons were, but Betty Mould was very knowledgeable about copyright because she used to be the head of copyright. She's very knowledgeable, so she by all means had good reasons. And when I brought the negotiator, and the negotiator went and had one afternoon with her, she signed the document. So that means the negotiator came and talked what she was looking for. Okay, what I did was, so Ghana is an ex-British colony, right?
Yes.
The Europeans divvied up our continent, right? So if Ghana is going to do anything in Europe, you got to go to England. If you go to another country, they'll tell you go to England.
Yes.
So I started talking to PRS here. And it was my phone calls. And they would call me, but this was nobody in Ghana had authorized me to do anything for Ghana. GHAMRO didn't exist. It was called GHAMRO then. And they were meeting at a Amajite spot. There was no head. Kazasechi had made himself the unofficial, the head, and Kobienchu was in there.
The spearheaded guy.
Yeah, they were all there. Nobody had money to give anybody to go anywhere, And I didn't even, but it was, I felt like it was a national service thing I was going to do. So I came, and when I first started, I knew no matter what, there's always a solution. That's been my motto my whole life. My brain goes to solutions, So Peer Music pushed me on to talk to PRS. The head of PRS at that time, the person I talked to at PRS, she was called Kathy. I don't remember her last name. If I look at my old emails, but she was called Kathy. I started negotiating with her. I started talking to her. She was asking questions. I was educating them. Then the LI had been passed. I'm talking way back. 2005 was when the LI was passed. So the LI had been passed. And when the LI was passed, it was good news for us. And then my mom passed away within that time. And I came to Ghana. And we kept going on. And I kept talking to them. I traveled to England. And then I came back to America, all trying to figure out a way to do it. But I mean, cut it short, I wasn't interested in the English deal. I'm not going to say it on air, but I wasn't interested in the English deal. So what's next? And I told Peer Music, I want to go to France. Ghana is not a Francophone country. But I said, I want to go to France. I want to go to Sassen. Peer Music has an office in France. And the one in charge there was called Bruno. He's still in Sassen right now. So they arranged that I go to France with Bruno. My plane fare, my money, everything. I lost a laptop, a very important laptop, and a phone on the trip to France. So I go to France. I go book a hotel to stay. 2 days before Bruno arranges to meet the office. We go there, the board of directors had not scheduled a board meeting. You know how board meetings are. They're scheduled. And I am here going without knowing their schedule and everything. And so they had to convene an emergency board meeting. And the lady told me, it was the lady we talked to first, me and Bruno and her. She says, she doesn't think they can help us. They can help me because it's England's jurisdiction. And I told her, no. I told her, no, I want France to help me. Do you know how bold that was? Just imagine it. I was not under the auspices. I was not authorized by any government. I was not authorized by anybody. Nobody knew I was doing this. Yes, it was just me, gung-ho, going to try to secure something for my country. Who was going to give me money to do that?
I see. So in going to see them, which the emergency board meeting had to be scheduled and everything, in the end they told you to go to England, and you boldly told them no, you want France to help.
No. After I witnessed it, Bruno is still alive. Robert Huge is alive. Robert Huge even came and trained them in Ghana after I did that whole deal. You see, so people and Carlos Sechi, I was informing Carlos from here as I was doing all of that, and Carlos Sechi knew that, and he knows that now. He knows it. It was only him in Ghana that I was telling what I was doing. And I felt like I was working for him to help him because he's at home,
So you were there, you were reporting things to him.
I was reporting things. I was sending him emails all the time. I was calling him on the phone all the time. So I go to France, and I took a long time in France. That's how I spent so much money. But it's not even about that. That is not even that trip alone that did it. So finally, they said, oh, they have a guy who is in SAM, who's the head at SAM. And they will have to get him. But he was off to something. So I had to wait in France longer before they could get a hold of Robert Huge in SAM. And then they tried to Robert Huge and said, oh, great. She has dealt with Betty Mould before. So she's willing to do this. So I should come back to America. And he gave a date that me and him will meet in Ghana. So he will meet Betty Mould.
Okay.
Derek, just imagine. I have a life I'm living. I don't work for GHAMRO,
Yeah, I know.
I have kids I take care of. I have stuff I do. I had to drop everything.
Everything.
And I arranged and come to Ghana. And I came to Ghana and met Robert Huge. I invited Carlos Sechi to the hotel at the airport. The roundabout, see that hotel over there. Is it a Holiday Inn? Yes, that's where Robert Huge lodged. Derek came, Robert Huge said she's going to be, he had arranged a meeting with Betty Mould. He went, came back, and told me, good news, we got the license. Carlos was there. I was there. The advice he gave Carlos was, you guys have to put this guy on the board once it's done, because he knows this stuff. The moment he left, Carlos told me, white people cannot come and tell us what to do over here.
Oh, wow.
Which I support 100% because I'm an incrementist, yes, I mean, I'm an
incrementist. The background of how we've come so far as a country.
So I mean, that statement coming from a Kwaboche boy, I know it's normal Kwaboche talk. We got to talk like that. So I wasn't present. Besides, it was like I knew Carlos's pedigree. I mean, I knew Carlos could do it. I mean, I believed he could do it, And I wasn't looking for a job. I was controlling over 1 million songs of the Pierre catalog.
Whoa.
Oh, yes. Yes.
1 million songs.
So my country has gotten a license. My country are going to do it. We're going to do it. We've been suffering. So I feel if we've been suffering now, we're going to take care of it so that it can be good, right? I've been gone for too long. That's what the problem is. I've been gone from the country for too long, really living there and knowing what's going on. Because when I was living in Ghana, there were elders who were competent. They were competent. I mean, when I was a kid in Ghana, our elders were competent. Our elders had attention to detail. We wouldn't have turned out the way we turned out without them being competent. We've always had problems as a nation. But you and I can attest to the fact that standards have dropped too much. Even though education, the percentage of educated people is high, our standards have dropped.
The rate is high, but the standard keeps.
Yes,
decreasing.
The standards. Yes, maybe it's because we've been stifled and we've been abused and used for too long. I mean, there's a good reason for it.
Yeah. So that Victor, looking at the background you've given me and peer music and your education, meeting most of the highest people when it comes to trying to get data collection or trying to set up a great system where musicians do not see Unisika and everything. Looking at where we are right now as a country and how we've come far in terms of GHAMRO, and every time the name GHAMRO comes up, there's lots of, from the spaces I did with my corporation and Muse Africa, how are we going to solve this problem with our data collection?
This problem is easy. This is not a problem. The only problem we have, number one, to be a CEO of a collection society, you have to have a certain skill that they don't teach in school.
Okay.
You have to be an entrepreneur who has been able to set up a company with very little funds and be able to succeed. You see, you need a certain mindset. You need a mindset of the show must go on. We should get it done. When you have that mindset inside of you, even if you don't have the tools, you know how to look for the tools. A good entrepreneur never holds anything to their chest. You delegate. You look for where is the diamond in the rough. You can even tap it from people who have not even been discovered. That's what a good CEO does. And then when you're leading in a peer, people of your peers, first of all, you've got to respect and love them. I've heard certain statements that shows that the people leading the organization are doing what the British did with us. The totem polling system, the class system. Like Derek, I'll give you an example. Who decides whether a tape is demo or it's a finished product? When a musician, who decides whether a tape is a demo or it's a finished product? The musician decides. The songwriter decides whether it's a demo or it's a finished product. A demo sound quality has nothing to do with a song being a hit. It has nothing to do with it. There is no comparative analysis with song versus song. No song competes with another song. You can't say a song is a demo unless the person says it's a demo. You know how demos came about? He doesn't even know how demos came about. Demos came about because record companies want to own your master.
Own your masters to your songs.
Yes, but to own your master, they have to pay for it to be recorded. You see, you cannot own a master if you are not the executive producer of it. This is what people don't understand. Yes, because you paid for it, so that's why you own that master. The songs on there belongs to the songwriter, right? Yes. And the performance, right? But the master tape belongs to the studio. Now, so when musicians go and record their music and bring it, that is their master. The music is what they say, oh, okay, so this is a demonstration. Now we're going to do the studio recording. It was all bullshit to take the music, the masters of the musicians.
I see.
That is the business of music. You see, you have to understand why certain terms came to be, why certain things were done a certain way, from the music businessman's brain, and you think it's like a norm. Now, somebody goes and records the songs and comes and publishes it. Even if it's a demo, if it is being played on air, it's being published. Why can't he join the society? How can you come and say that? And they brought demos into the collecting society. It means you don't respect. It means you don't even know. You don't even know that there's no difference between a demo and a master. It is the prerogative of the songwriter. The songwriter has the right to choose whatever they want. It is their song. If it is not patronized, it's his loss. If the record company doesn't produce it, it is their loss. The intelligent people, they're deciding what to do. As a manager of a catalog, you can't say people brought demos to the catalog. No, that's not acceptable. That's demeaning. That's disrespectful to the rights owner. But this is the thing: learning the codes, which is supposed to be a legal thing, knowing how to run an office, paying people when it's somebody's money that came to you, that doesn't qualify you as a CEO. A CEO has to think about what's next. How do we get over this hump? How do we expand our catalog? How do we get musicians to have a livelihood? They don't even understand that collective over there, the collective is responsible for the song. See, the song runs the industry, and the song is managed by GHAMRO. Think about it. Look at the meaning. Look, the song runs the industry. The song is managed by GHAMRO. Industry. So if GHAMRO has a disjointed head, the industry is not being run right. The Ghana music industry is in the pits. I have all the modal. I have everything set in place to fix it. It's going to be easy to fix, but they don't allow those of us who know what to do to come in and do it, because they're treating it like it's an NDC MPP Hearts Kotoko. It's not Black Stars thing. It's a divided thing. You see, you should look at it like Black Stars. We can go to GHAMRO primary school and see a player there who's so good and have him come and play Black Stars. He doesn't have to be playing Chelsea or Manchester United. As long as the coach says he's good, you include him. How can a catalog be there and nobody in the country can access the catalog? Even the members of the society don't know who owns what rights. There's no society in the world that the catalog is not public domain. Why are they holding to their chest? Because when it comes to, and this was started in the Musicians Union, and this is how it has translated to the GHAMRO. Because when it comes to election, if you know everybody, you can reach them and advertise to them and campaign to them. That is the only reason why they are holding to their chest, because they want to keep winning. But you are not qualified. Look, the proof is in the pudding, right? Performance. You've not been doing it. You knew 4 years before you said you could that somebody was faltering. So you came and you told the people that, hey, who go to money? 4 years, 1 year in a year, 8 years, 1 year in a year, and you want to be voted for again. You know why they win the elections? They win elections because when the cats are away, the mice do play. When the cats are away, the mice do play. That's how they win elections. And they are ingrained and they've got their little mix and little, it's bullshit. Sorry, I keep using bullshit because I'm too American. I use it on the show, and my advisors told me not to use that word again, but hey, it doesn't take long, it comes out over here.
Yeah. This is for us, we are youth culture, we're trying to, so that what we are trying to do is, personally, I manage a producer who, you know, it's a young guy, great talented guy who's getting into music, and he's trying to get all this put in place. So when we move around, I mean, since we're a digital music company, artists come to us. We also distribute music. We distributed music for the likes of Walasi, other rappers as well. So when we meet them, there seems to be the need to try and find a solution to the major issues which you've addressed seriously. And when we had our Twitter conversation with Mr. Tieku, everyone just came in with a lot of issues, but we are past that issue. What we are looking for is what to say, solutions to things that can work so musicians are fit and proper in this country, because we keep coming back to musicians asking for money when they are 10 years away.
If they knew the solutions, they would have implemented it. They don't know the solutions. Look, people have been trying to get me to tell them solutions, and they do it in so many different ways. I have an organization called the UMC, United Musicians Collective. We have a WhatsApp platform, and we're trying to get things going, you know, because they've been sidelining me for years. It's so bad. It's so bad. First of all, I've got the years of very competent people abroad who have done this. If I knock on any door, if you read my thing about the peer music deal I did, if you read the Google the Billboard article, have you read the Billboard article?
I was on it and I couldn't finish because we had to rush in it. But I saw the article. I did see the article.
Ralph Pierre told me he would help me with the infrastructure in Ghana before GHAMRO was formed. Ralph Pierre told me I was going to get the monitoring software. Then Peer Music wrote the first monitoring software. Look, they were going to support me do that thing because I told them for the catalog, the Peer Music catalog, and for African music, because they wanted to help African music in the world. For it to work, the infrastructure in Ghana has to be good. And they were willing to do that. And then this whole thing happened, and I was sidelined. You know, I thought it will work. I had the catalog. I never put it on the. I had the Peer Music catalog. I never put it in the GHAMRO catalog. I never did. Peer Music was mad at me. Why don't you put it? I said, Ralph, it is so bad. It is so bad. They got to correct it before we put it there. I would have been making so much money. So people are talking about $40,000. Look, I was controlling Beyonce's catalog, Mariah Carey's catalog. You want to know the Pierre catalog? I had so much catalog. Peter Cetera, I had all of them. I was controlling. Every time a song is played in Ghana, I made money. I didn't put it on there. I lost millions of dollars, not $20,000, because I wanted to do the right thing. Because it would be a shame that I will put a catalog on the platform, and they will come and they will be saying, we'll get 200,000, we'll get 500,000. Why?
See. So, in a nutshell, where do we start the foundation in fixing this problem?
The fixing of the problem starts, first of all, because it's a democracy. We have a democracy. The fixing starts with the elections. Okay. First of all, there's a group trying to get a different CMO going. It's a very bad idea. It's a very bad idea. Nobody should think, look, I thought about that 20 years ago. I did the rounds. I talked to CSAC, I talked to everybody about it is not a good idea to do a second CMO in Ghana. The market is too small. Just imagine, you see the black box money, where we go around and collect money from hairdressers and all that kind of stuff. If we're two CMOs, and you go to this hairdresser, and the hairdresser tells you, I paid the other CMO. And you come to her and says, I paid the other CMO. How are you going to know it's true?
True. So
you see,
setting up another CMO is a terrible idea.
It's a terrible idea. It's an elitist idea. I tell you, the idea. Look. We've got to look out for the commoner. If the commoner is good, then Ghana is good. We all on the top will make more. If you don't take care of the commoner, you cannot have the other thing where they use everybody else and then you get fat rich. No, we can't do that. We are communal people. We are Africans. We've got to do it the right way. Me, I fight for commoners. I will die fighting for commoners because my husband, my hustle that. Very good people, very good people. And it's not those of us who are lucky to go to St. Teresa's and Association Internationals and Carbochase and stuff. No, there are people in the villages, there are people around there who have suffered their whole life and they've got talent. What do you want to do?
I mean, even giving the brief of how you got your guitar alone, it's not even.
Yes. You see, look, to fix the industry is simple. We have to stay within the confines of the law.
Okay.
The people who vote in Ghana, there are four demographics. So there are those who were in Ghana, very knowledgeable, registered one or two songs or albums on old Kosga, and it transferred to GHAMRO. And when they saw that the thing was dysfunctional, they don't register songs there anymore. Because I remember there was a time people were promoting. Well, I'll bet now Frask, I'll bet now content, what BMI, I'll bet now PRS, and most of them now are recording, registering their songs outside the country. It's a disservice to our country. It's a disservice to our country because our country is supposed to make money from what is the country? The country is us. We work and the country makes money and the country survives from us. If we are all contributing the country's bottom line, it's better than putting your songs somewhere else. Those people talk a lot about GHAMRO being bad, but they cannot vote. There are people who, when they started writing songs, they register all their music abroad. When it's time for elections, they are not interested because GHAMRO and and those people make a lot of noise. And then there are those who also believe and they keep voting for the wrong people because the wrong people are the ones having this big sweet tongue and talking to them. Because the rights owners don't know what is what. They don't know what constitutes somebody who knows how to do this stuff. And so I apologize to Ghanaians. I've stayed away for too long because I can talk. I speak more languages. I speak Gang, I speak Panti, I speak P. I can talk. I can if I was to run a campaign, and it's not even about one person. You need to have people on the board. Yes, and then we need a real CEO. It's not like the way Ghana looks at things. You want to see somebody's degree and all that kind of stuff. No, you've not held a payroll. You've not held a payroll. You've not been struggling to find out how you're going to pay people on the 15th or on the 1st. You've not thought about how you buy capital infrastructure. You've not thought about how you're going to balance your books. You've not, and then you want to run an organization, be the head of an organization. No. I'll tell you one fix. I'll tell you one fix. So you see the excuse GHAMRO has been given. The excuse GHAMRO has been given is every CEO, when they start, they keep the money for 3 years before they start sharing to the members. You've heard that, right?
Yes, yes.
When they read what the France society did in the beginning, they didn't understand it because they're not businessmen. Every company needs 2 to 3 years audited accounts before they can apply for a loan, before they can be viable. It's an income to debt ratio issue. It's a viability issue. So if the people who started the France one, they waited 3 years because they all agreed to wait for 3 years because they wanted their books to look good so that when they apply for funding, they will pass.
They will pass, yes.
GHAMRO's books looks good. They can pass for funding if they're prepared to anybody. So if you are the CEO and you've never gone for a loan before, you've never talked to Hyper. We're not talking about 20 million, 30 million loan. We're talking about big money loan. If you've never been there, if you've never sat on a board or you've never been involved in any organization that's seeking big funding before, first of all, I didn't show so. I assume when you go paying for focus, how be some penny farmer. A trial. You don't have the level to be able to sit down and confidently negotiate. They will run you over. This is what you got. You can't have documentation people running as CEOs of the organization. And the people think that he's so good because he knows all this kind of stuff. No! Not my country's collective society that I spend my energy, forget about the money, to try and get it to get a license. What about when I was flying, the plane had crashed? I spend my time and my life to try to get Ghana to get a license. And then we got misfits running it, and then nobody wants to talk about it because they think you're going personal. We've got to go personal now. It's got to be personal because look at when COVID came, how many musicians suffered. The rest of the world made money in music during the collection societies made money during COVID.
There was a bump in music sales and stuff.
Yes, because people are at home listening to music. Ghanaians suffered during COVID. Ghanaian musicians, and nobody should shout. No, Victor Tieku is not keeping quiet anymore. I'm not keeping quiet anymore. Because look, infrastructure funding. Now, they go and they are looking for people who write softwares to come and give them license. I want a proprietary Ghanaian software. I want us to build our software. GHAMRO has to own the software. We're not going to get license and then pay residual income to nobody. We can have the software offset. That is the only way it's going to be. Our grandchildren, we are going to die knowing that we left our grandchildren an asset that nobody can come and take capital from. That's what Kamkuma would have done.
Okay, so you said you are not staying quiet anymore or for too long. When are you coming home? I mean, you said
I'm coming home in a couple of months. I'm coming home in a couple of months.
Okay.
I'll be home in a couple of months. Okay. I'm coming home for good in a couple of months.
Okay. Okay. And
because you see, Derek.
Yeah. Oh no, go ahead. I won't interrupt you. I'm actually soaking it everything because when you meet musicians, and like I said, we do meet them a lot. And after our space with Mr. on GHAMRO issues, I had a lot of calls from artists calling me about how they don't feel the need. Even the French ambassador set up a meeting where we spoke to people from SACEM and on all the places with publishers and stuff like that. And she was trying to get it to work. But when it was time for open mic, everyone seemed to have an issue with GHAMRO. And GHAMRO has become more or less like the bad niche when you mention their name. Like, so
let me tell you why GHAMRO catches so much flack. The industry itself is dysfunctional. They've got to make the industry functional. And I have the cure for it. When the industry is dysfunctional, musicians can't earn an income. You know why recording started in the first place? Recording started to promote live shows. musicians used to go to radio stations to sing. The whole band will go there and play in the radio station for people to hear. When a band is going to play, like, let's say in Accra, the broadcasting station, the musicians will go there with their instruments to go and play. And the people will listen on the radio. And so when they play in the night in the show, the people will come. And so then magnetic media happened. So then it was not that live shows promote recordings. Recordings were made to promote live shows. So now we are managing the song that is put on magnetic media, right? The musicians make more money playing live, and that's how they earn their living. And then when they do the record, that's a bump on the top. There's more money in playing live than there's the recorded in the sales income from the sales of records. How is the live scene? The live scene is dead in Ghana. So the musicians are hungry. They don't have a job. This is one of the reasons. So managing expectations of what GHAMRO is supposed to do to make them okay is higher than what GHAMRO can do. So if you are managing the song and you don't see that, you don't see the foresight, you don't know the industry the way it is, so you don't see the foresight, so you don't try to organize a way to make sure that we relieve that pressure coming from that side, because we have to make the live industry work. Have you heard anybody say what I'm saying?
No.
Because they don't know the industry. You see, they don't know the industry. They think the industry is GHAMRO and musicians. Those are only two structures in the industry. We've got to get all the industry working and interconnected. And it's not rocket science. This thing happens in the rest of the world. I don't know why people think that. Look, so when I say I can correct the industry just like that, it's because I know I wear all those hats. I'm a sound engineer. I'm a guitarist. I'm a singer. I mean, I've worn all the hats. I'm a promoter. I've done all of that. I know how it all works together, and I've sat down and I've studied it. And we can do it in Ghana. We need government. But even when we say we need government, people think it's such a big deal. No, government will be very happy when I talk to them, because I'm going to make government make money. This is a business. This is not a business to go and leech from government. This is a business to help contribute to the bottom line of the nation. And if you contribute to the bottom line of the nation, the industry will stand. What do you think the finance minister wants? Why do you think they went and they are taking taxes off Momo?
Yes.
The tax base is low.
Yes.
The tax base is low. That's a fact. Is the music industry, what is the music industry contributing in the tax base? Do you know, I can tell you, I mean, certain things I don't want to say because then I'm giving away my store. Do you know how much the music industry can contribute to the tax base? So much money. They've not even thought about it. The finance minister has not even thought about it because he doesn't know.
I mean, you see how in America it's a $3 billion company where the government just doesn't, sit down on music. I mean, music is, but over here.
We know. Some of us know how to do it. We know what it is. We know how to play. Think about, why do you think I made that stroke for the license to happen? Do you think I just made it? I made that angle. I used that angle for the license to happen just because I into.
No. I mean, you had the foresight, you had the vision to see how it could incorporate the whole thing.
Is very easy. Yes, the way things work is very easy. And it's very easy on every aspect of the industry. Oh, if you know, you know. If you don't know, you don't know. But most of the time, like me, as you can tell, you didn't even know of my name.
So I had to find, and I read, and I was like, this is interesting. But how is such a person not anywhere, like nowhere near names, radio, media? So this is gonna go really far, because then people see how far or how the solution is, but not being incorporated. Like it's there, but you won't yet. So that's what I'm asking when you are coming to Ghana, because this will be of a huge help to a lot of them.
No. I'm telling you, it's not. This is not an egotistical trip. This is not because the Tieku, so it's because the evidence is there. I've not been bugging anybody. I've not been trying to make myself famous. I've not been worrying anybody. I use my money. I've not been telling it anywhere. I've now gotten so pissed at the dysfunction that it's time to step up, because I am paying for. I'm not going to go to the grave with the knowledge I have about the industry, because look, I'm the first person who took a case to Ghana. When I took the case, then there was no GHAMRO, there was no COSGA. It was only musicians union. We formed musicians union in 1979 after the coup. You know the album Commencing Abanzi? You know the song Commanding Abanze? When we say Abre, when we so I was one of the guitar players and the singers on that album. That band was recorded that album. But Summons was by Summons Auntie's band, Antigua Studio. I never got a penny for the album. I took that case to Musicians Union. I was lambasted to death. Obabani Tioka. This is what they told me. So you see, my spark to learn the industry started when I was 19 years old. Ghana industry. When the live scene collapsed, I went and told them at musicians, but I guess my boy no back home. You make me, I'm a Hegate fear, but no boss any. I know no I report and I'm me I'm a fee. Now I'm a danger man business now I'm a Hegate fee and I won't say.
Our case we ran and all.
The critical thinking was low. The big picture was not being looked at.
It's deep rooted.
Yes. No, but it's not that Ghanaians don't have that. We have that. We have so many people who are able. But you see, it's just like how some people have been complaining about blasters. Some players don't play blasters. It's the same thing. It's endemic. We can't root that out for this country to survive. I see a car. Look, I'm not afraid of nobody.
So Victor, I'm not in the office, so my surroundings a bit home. Yeah, kids.
It's okay. Gonna be you. What pass? What throwing here? So I may wear to a wall.
Let's wrap things up by looking into the future. Where do you see if you hadn't come in to change things, how do you think the future of Ghanaian music was going to look like? To where we have the correct infrastructure, were we going to crash at a certain point where musicians now globally want to distribute their music with foreign publishers, or we will still have a system where it will work? Because, like you said, there's no need to form another CM.
There's no Ghanaian who doesn't love this country. Those who say they are just lying. Because this is the best country. It's not a joke. Because right now we cannot even trust each other that well. And look up where yes, baby P. If you give the Ghanaian just a little bit of space to breathe, you will love your country again. Just look at you and your friends. Just look at the way, the happiness that that's how almost every Ghanaian is. So they just need just a little bit of help, just to know that things are a little transparent. Yeah,
yes, and yeah, okay.
No, okay. I love my country. I like my people because I believe them. I know why things are the way they are. I know why things turn the way they are. Because if you know the way things work and what ricochets to what, the effect of causes, if you study, if you find out that, okay, this can cause this. When it happens, you're not going to be too shocked,
Yes.
But you have to have hope. You have to be optimistic. You have to try and make things better. I mean, what is life? That we should all commit suicide and die.
Okay, so for the young artists who are looking for publishers outside and trying to get everything working in a different system and not ours, what is the advice you give to them?
Advice is that if you don't register in GHAMRO, you can't vote there. And if you can't vote there, you can't help change the structure.
Okay.
So taking your song outside, you are helping another economy. A percentage of every income any Ghanaian makes goes to the nation. And that's what helps with the roads and everything. And that's what helps with the poor people getting more money to live on. If the poor people are not if you can be whoever, you can go and be a star anywhere. If you are not a star in your own country, you are nothing.
That's true. You can't be a hero in your own country. If you can't be a hero in your own country, it's useless.
Yeah, you know, I mean, who doesn't want to brag to the old grandmother in the house? Who doesn't want that auntie who's over there didn't go broach something to know say who doesn't? Everybody wants that.
Yes, that's true.
GHAMRO,
So
fixing GHAMRO is easy. Fixing GHAMRO. First of all, Ghanaian artists have been abused. Ghanaian rights owners have been abused for too long. So their confidence level is low. So the onus is on us who know. And government has to listen. Look, like they rewrote the Constitution. And I read the Constitution. They didn't make any mistakes. But it wasn't the Constitution for a creative organization. It wasn't the Constitution that had growth in it. The Constitution. You see? There's nothing wrong with it, too. But there are so many things not right with it. Because we have to think forward. Me, I'm a Kwabuche boy. I always dream if I can. You know? We have to dream if I can in everything we do. But yes. Sometimes when things happen. They don't consult. And it's the fault of those at home because they want to be famous by doing something that is mediocre. It's mediocre, and then they make themselves famous. Everybody think they are so good, but and on do level, and yet they are abusing Ghanaians. See, it's not a crime. It's not a crime if you don't know something, but it's a crime if you don't know something and you tell people that you know and you want to do it. You know, it's a crime. Now it looks like now that even the license has been withheld, and like they don't know whether they're going to renew it. That's a shame. That's a shame. You know, look, the radio stations that don't pay, the TV stations that don't pay, and all that kind of stuff. That's easy fix. Yeah. Ask yourself, how did America get radio stations to pay? How did England get radio stations to pay? How did France get radio stations? Isn't the template there? The fact is, they don't know how they did it.
Okay. So Victor, you've unloaded a whole pack of this. This is like Santa coming to your house, giving you the best unwrapped gift ever. But this needs to be on a much bigger scale where people can interact one-on-one with you and then have. So I'm just waiting for you to come home. Once you come home, I'm with you, and we are looking at finding a solution to all these issues.
Look, I listened to your interview you did with Ajeti, the last one, with Sevens and all those guys. I listened to it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I was monitoring it. I listened to it. Now, they all asked very important points, but they never asked Ajeti the points that is important.
Okay.
They asked, why is it? But you got to ask a solution point, like I said. You say, was apologetic about everything. And it's a wake-up call for me. I know. I know you all. That's all deflections. That's all deflections. Now, the part about the money and where has he gone to look for money? You don't look for money from poor people. How can you go to a poor person and ask him for money? When you want money, do you go to somebody who doesn't have money?
No, of course not.
So now you want to take the bread, the little bread that you don't give them, you want to take it away from them for 3 years. One time, when hell breaks loose and they hell insults at you, now you want to hold it for 3 years. Can't your brain think about an alternative? Or is the world shut down? I mean, ideas are gone. I can tell you off camera one idea that you go, oh my God. I can tell you, it's so easy.
We'll keep those ideas when you come home.
You see, the problem is that just like you don't know me, the voters, the rights owners don't know me. So even if I come and pick a form and say I want to stand or I want to be, right, the organization doesn't even have an advisory board. How can an organization not have an advisory board? How can they have a constitution without an advisory board? How can they have a constitution without a developmental board development? Who's going to man the organization 12 years from now? Have they been trained? Do we know those who have the caliber, who are going to be interested? Are we reaching out to collegiate, the academia? Are we organized enough so that we can bring in the best talent? This is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes.
So who's thinking tomorrow? You see, what is needed is bigger than the people who've been sitting over there. Like Soman has been on the board for 16 years. He's been there for 4 terms. He was on Kojenki's, he was on Kalosechi's board, he was on Kojenki's board, and he's been on the board himself for 2 terms. And you're going to tell me what? You want another chance to go and lead again? Lead what? We are fixing it. And you can't tell the people, look, you want a PRO, you want the people, yeah, we know we've been making mistakes. We've not been communicating with the people. It's not that we didn't know we would have to communicate with the people, but we didn't have the money. You are standing there talking to the world, and you are saying you can't communicate to the people. The talking there is not communicating. And you need money before you can communicate. When you are telling the truth, you just flow. When you want to lie, that's when you need a rhetoric major to come and sit there and dribble and embellish things and present it in a way that will confuse people, because that's what PR organizations do. And they're not even asking for one person. You get a PRO on the board, employed. You want a firm. My God, people's money. You want to use it to go and hire a firm to come and tell people what? That we cannot do something.
So, Mr. Victor,
does it make sense? Does it make sense?
No.
And people listen to it and they say, okay, and then they let him go.
When are you coming home, sir? When are you back in Ghana?
Let's say first week in October.
Okay, perfect. Me and my team, we already planned. We already have everything. This is part of a personal project for myself and the team where we plan to, find a solution and bridge the gap between having a bad image and so we're just looking, just like how you have those. We have the same plan and so we just can't wait for it to get home. We have a proper sit down.
Yeah, the image, will correct that one first. The politicians will love us. The executive branch of any party will love us. The judiciary will love us. The policymakers will love us. The people of Ghana will love us. We are going to be musicians again. Look, it's so easy to do it. We are going to be musicians again. This is our country. If the people are not happy, who come to your show? Who buy your album?
That's true.
We are as powerful as a radio station. We can mount a stage anywhere and play, and people will gather and we can give them information. But people don't realize how powerful we are.
It's true.
Ideas, and it makes me sad. Say, as composers, no my ideas is why. Is it people just want jobs? If you stand on stage, you do it well, and you stand on stage, you make so much money. Look, I was making more money than my father and mother's salary put together when I was leader of Despotary. My father and mother's salary put together, I was making more money than them in a week when I was leader of Despotary. And they were not cheap people. They were education officers in the civil service. I was making more money than them. So I know.
So, Stavito, this has been more than 2 hours of talk, and hopefully they'll digest
I can talk to you for 2 days non-stop. I can talk to you. It's about Ghana and my Ghana. I can go. Charlie, I'm in my own profession. I'm also a soccer coach. You see, I'm very big in soccer. I also have a soccer team in Ghana. Yeah, I'm also a soccer coach. But soccer was my first love, but music is my life, And even though people don't know me, if you hear my songs, you slap me. What do you mean, You'll be mad. You'll be so mad. You slap me. You say, why? It's just like how I've not been talking out there. It's the same way you've not heard my music out there. But we'll change it. We'll change things. No, the time is now. Because we can't wait another year or another 2 years. No. You know? If there are no problems, people will not take things to court. Everything has to be transparent.
Thank you so much.
The voice is gone.
Okay.
The voice, yeah, it's back now.
Victor,
yeah. Yes, it's back.
Yeah. So I mean, So I'll keep in touch with you. I'll take the number from I'll take the number from Chris. Yes. Yeah. And then we'll communicate and we will just see how. Thank you. So this has been a pleasure. Like you don't know how much it means to me to be able to talk to you and review these things. I can't put it into words. So I'll say thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for giving me a forum to talk, to vent out my frustrations.